Welcome back to another Story Time, where I tell my favorite stories from my 50 years here on the planet. This story I call Catwoman Stink. When you shoot news for a long time like I did, you will come across some things that are just mind-boggling, horrific. And one of the things that we would cover from time to time is we would get a report of a 46, or they suspected a 46, which was the Savannah Police Code for a dead body. So we're like, okay, well, if there's a dead body, one thing that you know is it's going to stink. That's a lot of times why the neighbors would suspect it, because there would be this horrible smell. So I had this way of protecting myself where, have you ever seen those little cushiony things that they would put in your ears so that you could, to protect you from really loud noises? Sometimes if you wear it, like if you're hunting or something like this. Well, what I would do is I would take those things and I would soak them in Brute or some kind of, like a cologne, and I'd jam them up my nose. Of course, I got a pretty big nose, so, you got to stick them way up there like this. And that way, I kind of look at this, I guess I'm ready to go and check out this place. So I have my camera up there, and, we would get the manager of the apartment, and they would let us in the door because they wanted to find out what was going on. So we went in the door. Of course, I've got these things stuck out my nose, so I'm like this. Okay, let's go see what's going on here. So we would open up the door, and the sight that I saw was just unbelievable, because there were just these cats just everywhere. They're in this one little room that was like, I don't know, maybe 20 foot wide, where it was like a single bedroom apartment. So you had the room, the kitchen and stuff. Well, there were just cats everywhere, probably at least 30 cats, and they all looked like they were feral, which was just wild. They just saw us and they just immediately scrambled, running out the doors, running out the bathroom window, running out the living room window. We couldn't see, there wasn't anybody there. The woman wasn't there. And so you had this bed, right, where the woman had been sleeping, and there was this just like pile of empty or semi-empty cat food tins. And there were also like used tampons. Why in the world did she decided she was going to keep her tampons and like leave them on the bed? I have no idea. Obviously, the woman was obviously loco, and so just cats everywhere, and the manager's like, oh my God, we got to clean this place up. What is this woman thinking? They did, but we never did find a body. We don't ever know what exactly happened to her, whether she was like, just had just left or whatever. But all I know is that was one of the stinkiest things I've ever covered, and to ever imagine that anybody could live in that kind of filth, laying in a bed with tampons and piles of these nasty cat food cans, man, you're just like, wow. And the deal about it is, it was a pretty nice looking apartment complex, and so you would have no idea that just behind this door something like that would occur, behind closed doors, man. Whew. And that was another Story Time.